I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Music came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
Like, whereas fame used to be the byproduct of success, and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there. Like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. It's really not worth it.
You ever look at music that you've written and look back at it and say, whoa, that surprised me?
I used to. I don't do that anymore. I don't know how I got to write those songs.
What do you mean you don't know how?
Well, those early songs were like almost magically written. Darkness at the break of noon, shadows even the silver spoon, a hand blade, a child's balloon.
Eclipses both the sun and moon. To understand you knew too soon. There's no sense in trying.
Try to sit down and write something like that. There's a magic to that, and it's not Siegfried and Roy kind of magic. You know, it's a different kind of a penetrating magic.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. You know, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
With the chief commander.
On this earth?
And in this earth, and then in the world we can't see.
Yeah, nobody gets out. You don't get out. You sell your soul to the devil, you owe the devil your soul.
Whoa, I sold my soul to the devil. For years we've been hearing rapper after rapper after rapper saying over and over again that they sold their soul to the devil, to the point where it has almost lost its meaning, and it almost sounds like they mean it figuratively. But can rappers actually sell their soul to the devil? How do they actually sell their souls to the devil? Let's talk about it. Alright, so what's up everybody? Before we get into today's video exposing all the ways that people actually sell their souls, there's a few disclaimers I need to get out real fast before we get into the video. If you are homosexual, if you are bisexual, if you are pansexual, it's very important to understand this video is not an attack on you. None of my videos are and will never ever be an attack on a person who is homosexual. It's very important to make this distinction. I am a Christian. I believe that the lifestyle is a sin. I am also a sinner. I sinned yesterday. I sinned this morning already. But the lifestyle, the scripture says the lifestyle is a sin. Don't get upset with me, get upset with the scriptures. But it's also important to note that when we're talking about Hollywood and the music industry, we're specifically talking about the homosexual rituals that take place in Hollywood and how that's held over people's head as a form of blackmail. That's not necessarily the same thing as just regular people, everyday people who are homosexual. Let's be clear. I love you and I wish you a long, healthy life, and I hope that you find Jesus Christ as I am seeking to find as well, or have a relationship with as well. Interviews. A lot of you all hop in my comment section and suggest that I interview people like I've heard the names Cat Williams, you know, Candace Owens, Charleston White. A few people just recently said Professor Griff. Listen guys, I'm open to it, but number one, obviously my most popular interview on this channel is with Jonathan Hay, who is an industry insider, industry publicist from the music industry, and obviously it went viral because he exposed a lot of evil things from the industry. But it's important for y'all to understand something. It's not easy coming across these interviews, and it's also not cheap. You're looking at the team, me. I don't have a group of people behind me. Everything you see on this channel, by the grace of God, I do it all by myself. So I want y'all to understand that even, first of all, I need your help to reach out to these people or figure out how to even get in contact with these people. Number two, even if I was able to do it, now if I can afford it myself, I'll definitely do it. But if I'm not able to, I'm gonna reach out to you all for help. I am, because if you want truth to be exposed, I'm gonna need you all's help in order to get these people on the platform so that I can afford them. But again, I've already spoken to Charleston White's people before in the past, and I couldn't afford them. I'm not gonna say the number. He's publicly said how much he charged, but I'm just not in a position right now where I can pay that much money without being able to make that money back. Freemasons. I talk about Freemasonry often on this channel, and I've had quite a few, surprisingly, quite a few Freemasons or self-proclaimed Freemasons to hop in the comment section and tell me that even though some of the stuff I say is true, they don't necessarily agree with all of it. Well, listen, I 100% invite you, and I kindly and I politely invite you to come onto the show. I will hide your identity, I will alter your voice, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that nobody knows who it is that I'm interviewing. But if you, especially if you're a high level Mason and you want to come onto the show, I'm more than open to talk to you about it, because I'm 100% confident in all the things that I'm talking about, just like I'm 100% confident in all the things I talk about when it comes to fraternity and sororities. So if you're open to doing that, reach out to me. Email is linked to the channel. Also, speaking of people that support me doing this type of work, I do this full time. Patreon, I need you to understand what the purpose of my Patreon is, because I'm having a lot of people go over there and joining the Patreon, and I love it, and I appreciate you all for supporting me. But I want to make sure I reiterate this so you understand what the purpose of the Patreon is. The purpose of my Patreon, number one, I will be dropping uncensored videos. So there will be YouTube videos over there from YouTube. Some of them will be the exact same videos. Some of them will be extended videos, just like this one will be. And then there will be videos that are no longer on YouTube, that used to be on YouTube, but they are now more Patreon appropriate. And once you watch the videos, it's obvious why. Number three, it's also important to understand that I will be dropping videos over there that is exclusively for Patreon. But because again, I do everything myself on this channel, it's only me you're looking at. I'm the only person, so I need time to be able to put these videos together, which is why it's important that you all support me, because a lot of people just simply support me just to support me. And that's love. I appreciate it. The last thing I want to say is, speaking of Patreon, there will be a few things in this video that I will not include on YouTube. Especially one of the biggest ways that people sell their souls. I'm not going to talk about it on YouTube. It'll be the last way in which people sell their souls that I'm only going to share on Patreon. It's going to be a couple other things, like the Professor Griff clip that I'm going to include later in this video. Part of that interview I'm going to clip off on YouTube, and I'm only going to show it on Patreon. So if you would like to see it from my Patreon members, be on the lookout for that. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So in my last video, we talked about P. Diddy and how P. Diddy, in my opinion, is 100% a CIA asset. Everything I'm saying in this video is alleged. And how Diddy didn't work hard, and he didn't just happen to be connected to the right people, and he worked his way to the top, and he became this hip-hop mogul by happenstance. No, P. Diddy was placed in position to do certain things and to lead hip-hop in a certain direction, and he 100% did that. He played his part in leading the masses in a certain direction by the way of hip-hop. Much like how there are many artists. We also talked about in my last video how there are no new people in the industry, so to speak, because a lot of people in the music industry are already connected to the people that's there. You got people like Sexy Red. Sexy Red already had her record deal before she even became famous, before she even blew up, before she even had a hit record. I'm going to say it again. This isn't a conspiracy theory. We talked about it on the channel, because remember, Cat Williams, when he went on to the Shannon Sharpe show and went viral last year, he exposed a lot more people than just the people that he named. So when he said, he got the infamous clip where he said, Kevin Hart, nobody can recall a time when Kevin Hart had these sold out shows and nobody watched the grind of Kevin Hart, because when he got here, everything was already laid out for him. Whether you choose to believe that or not about Kevin Hart, that 100% applies to a lot of music artists, such as a Sexy Red and a Ice Spice. Ice Spice is another one. Her music is trash. Most people don't understand how she blew up. She had her record deal before she blew up. How do you get a record deal? How many talented people do you know? I know a lot of talented people that can rap, sing, great at making beats. They'll never blow up though. Why is that? Because certain people are selected to be in the positions that they're in, and that's why so many of the artists all talk about the same stuff. Nobody's different, nobody nuanced, nobody's gonna stand out and talk about God. No, because they're all placed in position. They have a script that they have to follow. Okay, so now that we understand that, there's this meeting that allegedly happened in the early 90s. This will be another thing that I won't fully talk about on YouTube, but I'll share it on Patreon. There was a group of individuals from a Middle Eastern country that has had influence in America for a very long time, who had this meeting and decided they were going to invest in private prisons. Once they invested in private prisons, they wanted to figure out how to create a pipeline into these prisons. Hip hop was going to be the genre of choice, and so they had to take people, infiltrate them in this genre to make these things sound and look cool. And once you look at the 90s with NWA and all the artists, Tupac and Biggie and everybody that came after that point, it 100% makes perfect sense that they were able to pull this off. And everybody has been playing their role. Diddy is one of those people, 100%, and Diddy is not the only one. There are several other people that were placed in position to lead the masses, especially the black community, astray to indulge in criminal activity. Okay, now that we understand that, a portion of the interview we talked about how people like Diddy sold his soul. People like a lot of folks in the music industry in Hollywood sold their soul. But a reason why people tend to struggle to fully understand or grasp the concept of these things being true, instead of just believing that it's a conspiracy theory when all the evidence is right here in our faces, is because when they hear sell your soul, a lot of folks don't even believe in God. Well, everybody believes in God. The scripture says everybody believes in God. We just suppress the truth with a hardened heart. But listen, for those of us out, for the people out there that don't believe in God, they already struggle with the concept because they don't think that the devil is real to begin with. So in order to help those of you out there who are maybe unsure, agnostic about if God exists or not, let me break it down to you this way in this video so you can better understand what selling your soul mean, because it's not just ritualistically that people sell their soul. That's definitely one of the ways, but we're going to get into all the ways that people sell their soul. But before we do that, it's important once again that I drive home this point about Diddy being an agent. Here is Professor Griff 15 years ago talking about Diddy being an agent, infiltrating hip-hop, and the role that he was supposed to play, how he did it, and the evidence to support the claims.
I think the thing that raised some eyebrows with people is when I dropped the information about Quincy Jones. I let the chips fall wherever they fall.
That's right.
This dude was one of the ones responsible. He had a magazine financed by Warner Brothers and the rest of them. He set up 6 rings in Hollywood. And the people that he brought in, if y'all tell me if I'm lying, Quincy Jones brought in Fresh Prince. And his first movie was what? 6 Degrees of Separation. Brought in Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah set it off, licking and kissing on women. Are you following me?
Yes.
Tevin Campbell.
I caught it apart.
Thank you. And last but not least, when Tupac came to Hollywood, it was the homosexual ritual. This is where the homosexuals came out against it, but I didn't mind. I wasn't talking about homosexuals. I'm saying there's a homosexual ritual that they go through in the Illuminati secret societies. And it is. So when I mentioned that about it marrying itself on to hip-hop, they said, well, can you prove it? Yeah. Go back and go online and read where Tupac said he was asked by Quincy Jones. When Tupac said no, that's when Tupac was marked for death. Why? Because Tupac was engaged to Quincy Jones's daughter. Quincy Jones's daughter was best friend was Aaliyah. Aaliyah was engaged to Dame Dash. Now, if y'all follow these people back, all of them either died or was brought to ruin. Who creates and manufacture these trends? Brothers of Sagging, which y'all know is nigga spelled backwards, right? And what they did was marry the criminal culture in jail onto the street culture and made it part of hip-hop. So now, homosexuality is on the rise.
Mark Carey's book, Dancing with the Devil, how Puppy burned the bad boys of hip-hop. He talked about that. You understand what I'm saying? So when you talk about Puffy hiring these gay French and Italian and European white dudes to design his clothes, we found out that they had put an implantable biomicrochip inside the label. So like the jeans you got on, that may not even be your size, but when you went to the store, you said, may I get a 42 regular? Well, they took the small, medium tags and put it on the extra, the large, and the extra large jeans.
Again, I'll play the extended version of that clip on my Patreon. I don't want to say too much on here because this video may get flagged. All right, now that we've driven that point home, how do rappers and other people, including people who are not even in Hollywood, what are all the ways that people sell their souls? So one of the most common ways is if you are willing to change your morals in order to gain something, such as fame and success, that's 100% selling your soul. Now, this may seem so basic, but it's something where I need y'all to understand about this. If you have a desire to be rich and famous, well-known, praised by the masses, which is ironically very similar to Lucifer's story, right? Because Lucifer, the story in the Bible is that Lucifer was a high-ranking angel, but what he had wasn't good enough. He wanted what God had. He wanted to be on the same level as God. So he was willing to put himself first and go after what God had, and we know the rest. Well, it's the same way with not just people in Hollywood, but even YouTubers, right? Everyday people, which, by the way, the same way that hip-hop has been infiltrated to be able to control the masses, it wasn't just hip-hop. It's also new versions of that, such as streamers, YouTubers. When you look at streamers, they are 100% being controlled as well to lead the masses in a particular direction. If you'd like to see a full video on that, hop in the comment section and let me know. But if you are willing to compromise your morals and your belief system in order to gain fame, success, whether that be on a small level or a large level, it is 100% selling your soul. Because let's take somebody like Future, for example, the rapper Future. He has come out and literally admitted himself, he doesn't even do drugs. I'm going to say it again. Future does not even do drugs. And majority of his music, and I'm talking like 90% of Future's music, is talking about drug use. Heavy drug use. When you think about a person like Lil Wayne, never had these gang ties that anybody knew about. Many gangsters have come out and said, listen, we've never known him to be a gangster. All of a sudden, Wayne got teardrops. Religiously in Wayne's music, and I used to heavily listen to him, so I know, he got an infamous line where he says, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. Yet he got teardrops on his face. At one point in his career, when you think about Chris Brown, same way. Innocent image, all of a sudden, he's promoting the gang culture in his music, 100%. When you think about a person like 21 Savage, who has admitted that he didn't live that life, he literally said that there are certain things in his music that he didn't do himself, but he only talked like he did it in his music because that's what he was around. But he was willing to push it to other people, even though you weren't doing it yourself. Rick Ross, one of the biggest examples. Rick Ross was literally a corrections officer. But then when he blew up in music, he went from the Triple C's to now he got Maybach Music and all of that. All of a sudden, this dude is the biggest dope seller and plugged in with the cartel. I think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover, Whipping Work, Hallelujah, One Nation, Under God, Real N-words been from the effing start. Bro, you were a corrections officer, dude. And you took your whole image from a real person, which, by the way, ironically enough, Rick Ross, the person whose identity and image he took to pretend like he was this gangster and this huge dope seller, the person that he was imitating was also plugged in with the CIA. Just like I proved in my last video about Diddy, it's the same thing that applies to the real Rick Ross, Freeway Ricky Ross. That's why he was able to sell so many drugs across America and the urban community, because he was being allowed to do so due to the war on drugs. Or you even take a person like Pusha T. Every other song, Pusha T is still at the age of whatever age he is, 45 or 50, whatever age he is. He currently still talks about selling the most dope since Eazy-E. What are you talking about here, bro? Why do you care to share that type of information in your music? You've never done that. It's impossible to live the street life and the rap life. So we know you're lying. Why is it so important to you to do this? Because it's lucrative. That's why. It's lucrative. They have told them that this is what they have to push into music. They will be financially compensated for doing so. And on the back end, they believe that this will either consciously or subconsciously encourage people to indulge in criminal behavior, which will then populate the prisons. So this is a form of selling your soul as well. Because if you're willing to pretend to be something you're not, promote a lifestyle you don't live, act like a fabricated version of yourself out in public and in interviews, just like you do in your music videos when you're literally just in character, encouraging others to indulge in behavior they know is destructive, all at the expense of the people that they claim to care about, that being their fans or their own people. Which is funny enough because rappers, there's been this rumor around rappers for the longest where it's been said that a lot of rappers aren't even rich. They don't even have the lifestyle. They don't even live the lifestyle that they pretend like they live. They want other people to believe that they live this way. And one of the more popular ways that people typically sell their soul, or at least what people think about when they hear the term selling your soul to the devil, is contractually, right? Blood sacrifices and things of that sort from a ritualistic perspective. This is a real thing, guys. A lot of people are in denial about it, but it's real. We even covered on this channel before the young lady who talked about how she was dating this guy and they were living in ATL at the time. They were struggling. They were very poor, but he was trying to make it in music. He had some people from LA to reach out to him. He flew to LA, was out there for a few days, came back, and he would on a regular basis fly back and forth from LA to ATL. And she said over the weeks that he was doing this, she slowly watched him change. His behavior changed, and then finally she knew something was up. She found some very suspicious text messages between him and the assistant from LA, and then she walked in on him doing these chants. He was talking in his sleep, and then he eventually told her what he was doing. And essentially what it came down to in this story was it was self-worship. It was self-worship, because even a Satanist will tell you that they don't think that the devil is real. They just believe in what Satan represented, or the idea of Satan represented, which was essentially self-worship. is placing yourself on a pedestal, wanting people to praise you, just like Lucifer did, right? Wanting to do what you want to do, doing what thou wilt, which is a very common phrase, which, by the way, I always like to show this image of Jay-Z wearing the shirt just to show you ties back to the industry. Do what thou wilt was a very famous phrase from this guy by the name of Aleister Crowley, for those of you who are new to the channel, who was deemed as the most wickedest man in the world when he was alive, who started his own religion called the Lema. Like, all of this stuff is true, and they believed in sex magic and a lot of other evil things. These people sign these contracts, they make these agreements for the riches and fame, which is why, once again, the pastor in my last video on YouTube, the pastor literally said, this is why nobody who's achieved world fame, right, worldwide fame, not a single person you can point to reneged. Not a single person you can point to got out, so to speak. You can say, well, Michael Jackson was talking about the music. Listen, great, but Michael Jackson was in a legal battle with them. And yeah, Michael Jackson was calling out things, but we can't lose sight. Michael Jackson was a part of the same machine. And Michael Jackson never complained and never exposed anything until they did him wrong. Then all of a sudden he was protesting and having these press conferences. But before that point, he didn't expose anything. And he knows that the music industry has always been evil. Just calling it like it is. And the ultimate point from this video is, you don't have to be famous to sell your soul. You can be a YouTuber. You can be a streamer. You can be an artist, a musician, an actress, an actor. It doesn't matter. If you're willing to compromise your morals, if you believe in God and you're willing to put your belief in God to the side, or pretend like you're not doing certain things in order to gain fame and make more money, you're selling your soul. You don't have to believe that you're worshiping the devil, which, by the way, even the people, because there are people who have 100% believe in the devil, 100% worship the devil, and Satan will literally use those people to get right next to the people who don't want to worship Satan, but they want the fame and the success. And that person who literally worships the devil will put everything in front of you that will tempt you, from lust to greed when it comes to money. And that's how they'll get you. They'll get you that way. Okay, you don't want to worship Satan? You don't want to do these rituals with us? We'll get you another way then. And that's still selling your soul. And so the biggest way not to sell your souls, don't compromise your morals. Don't give up on your people. Don't give up on Jesus Christ. Don't give up on God, right? Read your Bible. Pray to Jesus Christ. That's my biggest message from this video, right? Yeah, but anyways, y'all up in the comment section, give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think people can sell their soul in different ways? Is this what you were thinking? Is this everything you thought? Was there something in this video that you didn't think about? Hop in the comment section and let me know. I'm Demetrius. I go by Diddy. That's all for this one. Until next time. Peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.